Everybody, it's Paul here, and I'm going to talk about Billboard or plop clouds or something in Blender. And the idea comes from something somebody was talking about on this thread here. It's the really long, huge cycles material thread started by El Brujo de la Tribu, I guess that's his name, his username. And the guy was talking about clouds, and originally I started up with some ideas for volumetric clouds. And let's see, Blender still needs some voxels to really make those work well, but you can kind of get some neat stuff going on with it. But what Fate Sailor was asking for wasn't volumetrics, but pretty much an alpha map. So that would be Billboard or plop renders, I guess. I don't know. Or splats. Splats is the word, not plop. But it's an idea for a simple cloud, so I'll go into Blender and let's see, we want to switch to cycles render and get rid of that cube and ignore the phone ringing in the background. I always get stupid spam calls around this time of day. Yeah, it's just living in a house where somebody answered stupid emails and I get spam calls all day. But don't worry about that. World background, color, and we'll just go with simple sky texture. Just give us a backdrop and render. Yeah, that's fine. Get out of that. So we need to add a billboard, right? So that'd be a plane. And we'll scale this up. And rotate it on X 90 degrees just to get sideways. Scale on X bit here. So, as billboard, I'm not in camera view, duh. That would help. Got camera view, so how to rotate that, right? And move that back. Need to do is lock the camera and excuse me. And that's our billboard, but nothing too special yet. And move the light up here like so. Let's get some light casting on it. And make sure it's set up for oh, I got the lamp selected. And materials. I'll just go back to the default and set it up to use the nodes. Another quick render, and you can see it's just kind of coming out plain dark and diffuses, reflecting whatever the sky is, I guess. So let's get in a nodes to see if we can get some kind of splat or billboard cloud going here. Compositing. For something like clouds, the actual color I am going to do is actually going to be a mix. Shader, mix shader. Because clouds always seem to pick up light. So what we'll do is add a little bit of emission to that. And where is it? Well, I'll just hit E, that gives me emission right there. Instead of trying to find it from the list. So, and you want this to actually have a fairly low value. It's not entirely realistic in that way, because clouds just don't give off light, they reflect light, but they often tend to be in an environment where they pick up light from the sun or something. in a way where it's just brighter than the background anyways. So that there is fine. Lean it more towards diffuse anyways. We'll add another shader or mix, and this is what controls transparency to give you your cloud shape. And should just go with some kind of noise. So let's see, transparency. Oh wait, that's the shader. Transparent. There we go. Leave that to default full white, and that will give you full transparency. Right now it's a mix, so we gotta do an input or texture. Actually, it's a texture, and I want to say it's a Voronoi to start out with. Alright, and I believe it's a factor. And I want to say I leave it on intensity. So let's do a quick default render. And it's showing up really faint right now. But you can kind of see the pattern starting. I think I have it backwards. So what I need to do is flip this. Head down there, move this up here. Alright. So you have Voronoi driving the factor of the mix between transparent and the visible part of the cloud. I'm going to boost up the emission a little bit there. And go back and render. And we're starting to see some puffy cloud shapes. And I need to have it the right way, but that's it. It used to be you could drag one and it would flip flop, but they don't seem to want it to do that anymore. Nice if there's a way to turn that behavior back on. It was something I liked in the older version of Blender. You could just oh, I didn't mean to drag that one. You could flip flop your node handles, but it doesn't seem like it works anymore. 2.7, so I'm just gonna stick with capacitic. Get that window big, and what I'm going to do is switch this to rendered preview, and let's bring up the emission a bit. There we go. That's more like it. Okay, this is the start of our clouds. And they're nice and puffy, but what we need to do is add something. I'm trying to think how I did it. I want to do is texture coordinates. Add vector mapping. Oops. That one. This one is the one I wanted to zoom out. And generated here. I believe it is vector still. Yeah, we can change the scale to make the clouds a little bit wider. So, and right now you notice the billboard, it has really sharp edges. Fixing it on a little bit. And clouds are almost too regularly defined in this pattern. And it's okay, but scale that up a bit. And I'll probably want to change the intensity a bit, so let's go with a color ramp here, and we can separate the clouds a little bit more that way. Right there, a little bit more definition of the intensity there. Got some cloud-like shapes. To me, those are still too regular. And I don't know if you notice, but let's see if it doesn't show the actual color. But if you didn't notice, texture coordinates or vector information and vector information on 3 channels are actually controlled in a way that's similar to the RGB channels for color. So interestingly enough, you can actually mix colors with them, or you can use colors to get mixed with vector math. It's kind of weird, but it does work. And what I'm going to do is take a color from another noise channel to mix up the vectors a bit. So what I want to do is use waves, and I am going to take the color information. Alright, now that banding is like way too strong. And actually I could actually use the object UV instead of the right there. Right now you're wondering, whoa, that's like too much. Yes. Just take the scale way down on the banding. The banding drives distortion, and that will actually make your clouds a little bit more puffy and irregular, so now you don't have the same clouds. The scale can still go way down, not that far. 0.75, something like that. Can tame the distortion a bit. Since that is kind of the color, I think I can dampen that up by so mix RGB here, and yeah, that'll work fine too. Now we got our puffy clouds, right? So the problem is that it goes sharp edges on our splat here, and probably still want a smaller scale. So let's dial this scale down a bit. Yeah. Nice clouds. So how do we get rid of the sharp edges on this panel with our alpha mapped clouds? We do that by doing another trick. And I wanted to say you add a subdivision surface, not that one, but the simple one, and like so. And what that'll do is if you go to Z, it gives it a bigger grid. And the grid is handy because what we want to do is vertex paint this and dirty vertex colors. But apparently dirty vertex colors doesn't work on a plane for some reason. I don't know why. But I think there is a workaround for that. It has something to do with the edges. For some reason it just doesn't recognize the edges on a plane. But probably work around that by solidifying this, making a cube out of it. Applying that. So now we actually have a cube. And now let's try doing the dirty vertex colors. And that gives us, yeah, we have a panel here. too obvious where we got blur iterations. And you notice there's like an edge here for vertex painting, so use that edge. And the dirt angle, and doesn't seem to do much, but the highlight angle. What we just want is a contrast between the inside and outside. And I'm just going to draw it down a bit. Something like that. I think that'll work. That might even be better. That's too much. It takes a little bit of adjustment. So I do want smoothest all the way to the edge. Well, that looks about right. So I'm going to work with that. Now we got our vertexes painted, we'll go back into edit mode. And I guess we'll go one of the ortho views. It box select. I think I want that option on. Yeah. And now I'm just going to delete all those. I guess vertices or faces. Here. And I guess it puts me back to a plane. So if I go to vertex, it still has it, but I'm back to the 2D plane again. Alright, good. That's the workaround. Because you can't get dirty edges on a plane for some stupid reason. Anyhow. Now that we got that done, we can go under our vertex information, and our vertex colors is listed as col, which is short for color, I guess. And we'll go back to our compositing, and what that does is all this stuff here for our cloud shapes. So if I were to box select all this stuff up here, alright, all that's selected, and it's not really a group, but is there a way to frame these things? Join a new frame. Okay. So all those that are framed together drive the cloud shape, and all these there give us the cloud color kind of thing. And what we want to do is take the cloud shape information and mix it or multiply it with the what is it? Input attribute. Attribute will be named after that thing we just did with the vertex colors, which is called for color. And we'll be using a factor of that. So I want to see, does either a color or a converter, it shouldn't matter. Let's say add, And see how the edges tone down right there? So that's good. And since it's just a factor output, I think I'll use converter math with the multiply. Get it to hook up on here. There we go. Hook up and multiply and there. So now we don't have the sharp edges like we did, but we got our clouds on alpha like so. Yeah, it took a little while to build it up, but there you go. I can brighten the clouds up a little bit. And that's how you get a 2D cloud. And now I can, what is it? Alt D to duplicate this. Move it around. And you can actually constrain these to always face the camera. Because they are billboards. So what you do is... And the original idea for this was from an old 3D program, and it's still going strong, but it's probably one of the oldest commercial 3D software that wasn't overpriced, and that would be Bryce. Yeah, because in the original thread, Fate Sealer was mentioning something he got an idea from Bryce. And I remember Bryce having the clouds like this since Bryce 4, but Bryce 4 even had volumetrics way back then, so that's why I thought volumetrics first, but he wanted just the billboard cloud, so do that, and we'll constrain these, and what is it, track 2 I believe, and camera, Z and Y like so. So these things always point at the camera. So that's usually what you want to do with billboards. So camera, Z and Y like so. And I go to that and render. And we got our nice puffy clouds, they render quick. So that's pretty much it. There's some other tricks you could probably do to mix up the patterns a bit more. And those will work in your scenes, so it's not too bad. Yeah, that's a quick way to get your billboard clouds. So there you go. Have fun rendering.